All right. Welcome back, my regular viewers, listeners, and watchers. And of course, if you happen to be here for the very first time, welcome. Before I go any further, my name is Rahul George, India's premier iHypnosis life healer coach and your personal guide. And of course, a very warm welcome to all of you tuning into our special iHypnosis life coaching journeys. This pod is, of course, a curated pod of stories of lives of coaches and healers who are one already on the journey and people who have been through the many twists and turns to get to a point today in their own lives where they are living their purpose more and more each day. So we have a really powerful guest in our midst, and I'd like all of you to put your hands together and welcome in Akanksha. Akanksha, of course, this is your cue, so you can go ahead and turn on your camera and your mic. And really good to have you here.
Thank you.
Welcome on the pod.
Thank you so much, Rahul. And I'm glad that I'm here and part of this podcast. So, yes, looking forward to it.
Nice. Awesome. So, as I said, the intention of this pod is one, people get to meet you, people get to know you. These could be people who maybe are coming across you for the first time. These could be people who have known you for some time. But this pod, serves as a way for them to get to know you better. And, in this day and age of what we call parasocial relationships, they get to form a deeper bond with you, and I'm sure in times to come, there will be people who will find this a pod when they like what you're creating and they want to know more about you and like, okay, like how did Akanksha get to be the person that she is? What's her journey? We've all been there. We've all done those deep diving, your CSI kind of investigations. Like, okay, how did this person become like this? What's their story, right? We get really curious about
Yes,
people
yes.
that we admire, people who become our coaches, people who become our healers. So this is the intent of our pod. So maybe we'll start at the top. And Akanksha, if somebody says to you, so Akanksha, what do you do today? What do you tell them?
Okay. So, this is exactly I do. This is exactly I do how to introduce and how to communicate effectively.
Right.
So, basically, I'm a leadership language coach and I help professionals to communicate like a leader and
Mm,
help them to build a presence, executive presence in
mm,
every walks of life, whether it is personal,
mm.
professional. Why? Because I have been there and I have done that.
Wow. Amazing. I've said this and I never get tired of saying this because it's true. Pretty much every guest that has come on the show, and today we are happily now into the 90s. So we've just crossed the 90th episode.
Wow.
We are doing the first episode together. And I'm amazed that when I ask this question, usually I get a similar brand of confidence. So I am very, very fascinated when I hear the strength and the clarity with which, the way you shared what you do. So the truth also is that I'm sure, as you know, this didn't happen overnight, right? It
Yes,
was a
of
journey
course.
to get here, and there were, I'm sure, lots of twists and turns along the way. So this is our opportunity to, it's like be the angel on your shoulder and watch as you lead us, back in time. So for coaches or healers who are familiar with the concept of the hero's journey, right? This is or the origin story. This is a way for us to get to know, like, for you to be this person who you are today, doing the things that you're doing, where did it begin? Like, how did all of this begin? So take us as far back as you feel intuitively drawn to, and share with us what was that
Okay.
story? Like, how did you get
So you know, right, that as a coach and as a consultant, we talk too much. So
here?
when I'm sharing my story, please, if it goes too long, please stop me there. So I will
For
cut it
sure.
down. Okay.
For sure.
So yeah, so I am basically belong to a two-tier city or maybe two and a half tier city,
Mhm.
and so I'm a product of a small town and
Mm.
basically studied in government Hindi medium school.
Wow.
So you know, right, that the Hindi medium school, government school, how much would be the impact and the emphasis on English communication,
Mm. Wow.
right? And
Amazing.
also, I'm the ninth child of my family. I have eight
Wow.
siblings. Yeah. So
Wow.
so I have been protected to in my family, and also, so this protection and this environment made me timid,
Mm,
right? And with that, I realized that surrounding the children of my age are fluent in English, they are communicating in English, and somewhere I started comparing myself to them.
mm,
And the gap, the gap which I was realizing that, see, that 12 years, 13 years, how would she analyze, right? What exactly
correct,
the problem is. That I
correct.
was trying to see that, okay, they are speaking English, but I am not. So
Mm,
मुझे पहले English
हाँ, बिल्कुल, right. Wow.
So that is how I started my journey for
Mm,
English communication, only English
mm,
speaking. And I thought
mm,
that everything is done. Now the door
हाँ,
is open for me.
right.
But when I entered into corporate world, I realized that English speaking is just one thing
Mm,
and communication is way apart from that.
right,
Right.
right.
And then I realized that, okay, so
Mm,
so so even I know English, even I know vocabulary, even I know everything, the jargon is everything, but still I'm not able to communicate effectively and
mm,
expressively. Right. So
mm,
that's where I realized that something is missing. And that's
mm,
where my journey started to learn
mm,
communication and to improve my own communication.
mm,
Right. So
mm,
so somehow I trained myself from coming the zone of introversion to extroversion.
mm,
And thankfully, that has opened many doors to me.
right.
I travel across the world in terms of client projects because I
Mm,
was working in IT company.
right.
So I traveled USA, UK, and as I got into those opportunities, I learned more.
Mm,
And see, saying it's very easy,
mm,
but when I was doing that, it was not easy at all.
mm, mm,
So the
mm,
message I'm passing on to your audience that wherever you are stuck anywhere, don't stop there, don't give up. Because across that risk, across that fear, across that uncomfort zone, you have
mm.
the victory.
Wow,
Yeah.
awesome.
So that is how I went through my own journey. And when I promoted as a leader, as a project manager, I realized when I started conducting interviews, even in 2018, 2015, I realized that the problem which I was facing during my childhood and during schooling days, even
Mm,
today, the same problem persists. Right. The students and the college graduates and the engineers are not able to express themselves effectively during interviews
mm,
and many other things. Even forget about the students, right? The freshers.
mm,
I'm
mm,
talking about the colleagues who are the programmers, the coders, the technical experts, but they are not able to expert or express themselves in front of
mm,
client confidently.
right.
Yeah. So that's where I realized uh that this is the time I need to help them. And without any title, without any designation, I started helping them in my own company. I
Mm,
started conducting sessions on email writing or
mm,
presentation skills, everything, right? Blah, blah, blah. So then I realized that, okay, my interest, my heart goes there. You know,
mm,
and programming is one side, that is
right.
enough. But now I am looking forward to it. I conduct sessions and I just love it. I
Mm,
look forward to those kind of sessions. And
right.
that's why my first realization was that this is the time I need to switch the career.
Mm,
After 17 years of experience, after having good, handsome salary and everything,
mm,
then I realized that no, I have to change something. And that's where
mm,
I started my offline venture, which is known as Being Orator in
mm,
Ahmedabad, Gujarat. And as you know, right, Siddharth Rajshekar, our common
mhm,
mentor.
mhm,
So he happened to be in my life. And that is how I started my online venture, which is known
right.
as Communicators Digital Guru.
Mm,
So, in short, to conclude, whatever I have gone through, the same experience are being faced by my mentees, and that's
mm,
where I just help them to come across the journey. That is it. That is all
beautiful.
I do.
Wow. So you shared a like in a nutshell, you shared, the last several years. Do you remember that moment when you had that aha, which is that if I learn English, that will take care of everything? Do
Hmm.
you recall that time?
Yeah,
Walk us through that, like moment of realization, because like you said, growing up in a family where
correct.
there's always people around you, right? I'm guessing growing up having silence was not that easily, found. There was always something happening.
Correct.
But
Correct.
amidst all of that, and of course, being in your school, as you said, it was a Hindi medium school. When did you have, like, do you recall that moment when something just clicked and you're like, अगर ये होगा तो
Yeah, yeah, I do. I do very well. So, it happened when I was in college and I was attending English speaking class, which is being conducted by one of the Italian lady. And she was in my hometown. And luckily, I got admitted in her coaching classes that was English speaking. And since we have cantonment area, so she got married to one of the military men, and then that is how she started conducting the sessions there. So one day she was having like, if you are the news reader or if you are the news editor, then how would you do that? You know?
right?
So I mean, I was average there also. I was not out of, top of the performers that,
Mm,
yes, I cracked it and everything. I
huh,
was average, but
mm,
seeing the top performers of that class,
mm,
right, I realized that if I can do that, the life will be settled,
mm,
you know. So there also I was comparing myself. So it,
mm,
it never stops. So I will let you also, I mean, I will tell you later on that
mm,
how, so communication is not just that you practice and you speak,
mm.
has a lot to do with here.
Yeah, right.
So first of all, you have to change your mindset, and that's where the
Mm,
magic started happening.
right.
Yeah. So yeah,
Nice.
that was the moment when I realized that ये हो गया तो फिर सब हो जाएगा.
Wow. Wow. Beautiful. So, as you said, you had schooling, then did you choose, was it technology or IT, or what was it that you,
So I did MBA.
okay. And before that, your college,
Yeah, in
your,
commerce. So I did
so
accounting.
commerce in
Yes,
college and then
MBA.
MBA.
Yeah. So even getting into IT was a surprise to me, but there
Mm,
was a role for functional consultant also. So that is how I jumped into IT industry.
okay. Got it. So that was the IT connection.
Correct. Yes.
Then while you were there, you were on different projects, you traveled around the world,
Yes.
a lot
Yes.
of experiences there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was sort of what was happening in the background.
Yes.
And then you also mentioned, when did you have that realization that, okay, it's time to change your direction of what you were doing?
Okay. So first thing I want to tell you, when I had the click that yes, I have reached. Okay. So what happened? We went to Bangalore for SAP, if you know the
Hmm.
SAP SAP company, right? So we
Correct.
had a project
Correct.
there. And at that time, I was really deep into communication for my own improvement. And I
Hmm.
was
Wow.
intentionally like every time I had to, so every time I used to prepare myself. So I used to practice 10 times before presenting to client or anything.
Wow.
So that was that time I thought, okay, this is the process actually to learn the
Huh.
communication, right?
Huh.
But that was a mistake,
Hmm.
right? So when I went to Bangalore, that time
Hmm.
there was a discussion going on in the conference room and the client was there and everybody was sitting there.
Hmm.
And I found myself articulating, expressing, and communicating very effectively, impromptu,
Hmm.
impromptu,
Hmm.
right? So,
Nice.
and everybody was appreciating my ideas, my thoughts.
Hmm.
That day was the click. I realized that yes, I have reached where I wanted to go,
Hmm.
you know.
Wow.
And as I got the confirmation and the confidence that yes, now I have worked on myself, and then I realized that this is the thing which I can help others. So that was the time where I started checking others that if anybody needs my help, if I can help
Hmm.
there in my project, in
Right.
my team members. So
Right.
that is how it has started.
So initially at that stage, you were still looking at as an employee in that role, but you were still saying, okay, is there anybody around me who I can help?
Correct.
Right? I have realized that, okay, when I was in the flow, I was impromptu. Of course, I prepared, but
Yes.
in that moment, I was in the flow.
Correct.
That click happened. And then you're like, okay, is there anybody around who I can help?
Yes.
Right? In terms of like, milestone by milestone.
Correct.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
Awesome. So this was for context and timeline also. This was like, was this pre-COVID or was this post-COVID?
It was pre-COVID. It happened like we, yeah. I started my own journey of communication in 2011.
Mm.
And by 2016, I had that realization that it's the time to
Huh.
start and to help others also.
Right.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So that sort of puts a nice little, like and this is important because like you said, there's a lot of story in our stories, right? And when we are able to reflect back on it, that's when we're able to tap into the juju, the energy that's in it, and
Correct.
we're able to then, release that and then also with time help other people, right? So that's why I'm breaking it down like this, slowing it down, just so that we're able to get more out of your story. Because again, as I said, our audience is primarily healers and coaches,
Yeah.
primarily. So just listening to your story, I know will unlock the people are, and I'm sure you had that experience in the early stages of what's your niche, what's my niche, what's your topic, what's my topic. That's a
A
very
lot.
typical conversation
Yes.
until it clicks.
Yes. Yes.
So the intent also is that when people hear your story and they hear the chapters or the milestones, that something in this could unlock for them maybe what they have forgotten in their own story. Like, okay, I kind of think I know what it is, but I don't. So listening to your story can definitely help them in that. So this, as you said, was somewhere around 2016. How did that progress? So like 2016, okay, so you started to look at, how can I help more people? You're still in the company mindset, you're still
Hmm.
in the employee mindset. And
Hmm.
then, of course, came that, common holiday for all of us. Of course, it was not just a holiday. There was a lot of good and bad rolled into it. With that 2020, 21 period. What was that as an experience for you in this journey that you've been now on for a while?
Yeah. So I'll take you through since 2016 till COVID. So
Huh.
so you get the idea how it happened and how it turned out to. So in 2016, as I mentioned, right? So I started helping my team members that this is
Mm,
something which you can improve in communication. This is something. And 2018, I was doing the same thing. I was totally
mm,
involved in my project because of other responsibilities also.
right.
2018, something happened inside that enough is enough. Enough
Mm,
of computers, enough of technology, enough of clients meeting and all. Now it's time to shift.
mm,
It's time to follow my heart, you know. So so that time I started my I and my sister have started a venture, as I told you. So it was
mm.
offline pure spoken English for
If I may, just to pause you here, because again, these are those moments, it's like when you're in that zone of mastery, we forget when we were, to quote a guest from earlier today, it's like we forget when we were in the zone of disaster, right? So
yes.
what was that what happened where where that switch suddenly turned on and you said, okay, now I'm going to change my focus. And then you started doing this business with your sister, right? Was there something specific that kind of made that shift where you said, okay, let me change my focus?
No, no, it was not sudden. So
Huh.
I was part of a club which is known as Toastmaster International, if
Right.
you know.
Right. Yes, of course.
So as I told you, right? So so it was I was working in TCS, and TCS
Mm,
had this platform for
right.
the employees to improve communication and leadership skills.
Correct.
So I was participating. I was very active at that time, right?
Mm,
So since 2016 to 2018, I was working too much actively
mm,
into that club.
got it.
Then I got the confidence that okay, I can mentor others also. I can help others also. And everybody knew that I am actively participating in those activities. So
Mm,
my managers, my leaders, my everybody would give the opportunity. Okay, go and do that. Okay,
right.
the client is coming, so you have to organize the event. You have to host the
Mm,
event. So those kind of
nice.
events also came to me. Opportunities also came to me. So it was not a sudden shift, sudden click, but it was layered up step
Layer
by
by layer.
step process. Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So 2018, and then you and your sister decide, okay, let us start this venture together.
Correct. Yes. Yes. And then 2018 to 2020, everything was going well. I
Mm,
was, part time. I was helping others to improve communication. We had
mm,
teachers also. We were doing very
mm,
well.
nice.
And then COVID happened. Yeah.
Mm,
But as many of us, COVID came to me as a blessing.
mm,
Okay. because at that time I took sabbatical leave uh, for 1 year, and
Okay.
I did executive leadership program for IIM Calcutta.
Nice.
So that was the cherry on the cake because I was
Mm,
learning the communication, but still I
right.
was missing the executive presence.
Mm,
You know, if I want to become the CEO of the company, or if I want to become the director of the company,
mm,
part of board of directors, right? So you
right.
have to have a specific mindset,
Mm,
right? So that course had helped me to work or be in the environment where the directors of the different companies, right? The CEOs
mm,
of the different companies are coming and
right.
talking and sharing
Mm,
their thoughts together.
mm,
So it had emerged me exponentially.
right.
That experience was exceptional for me to
Mm,
be like, to think like a leader. So
mm,
that is exactly I am, sorry, that is exactly I'm sharing to my audience also, to my mentees also, that
mm,
communication, use communication as a tool, but
mm,
ultimate aim has to be at the top.
right.
Yeah. So this is the whole process and the journey I have gone. Yeah.
Nice. So that was the COVID phase where you were also doing your training.
Yes.
And how did your journey sort of progress from offline to online? Because, that itself is its own story,
Yeah.
right? So what was that like?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if you would be able to relate it or not, but I had this, uh, you know, mind blockage, you can say,
Mm,
or limited belief that
mm,
communication is something, or the coaching is something which you cannot teach online.
mm,
You know, many of us have that limited belief, right? So I
mm,
was also going through, and that is why I took 1 year to decide whether I want to get into Siddharth Rajnikar community or not, whether it is for me or not.
mm,
And then once I got convinced, I saw people around and I saw the environment that yes, people are changing their mindset that okay, online coaching also works, especially
mm,
after COVID when they were conducting the classes and attending
correct.
the classes. At time I realized that okay, let's try at least once.
Mm,
So
mm,
that is how I got into that community, and that is how the journey started, and that was the switch. It was again a not sudden shift, but it took time, and that is how it happened.
right. Nice. So now, of course, if you look back, that's been about, let's say 2020. So it's about 4 to 5 years, right?
Correct. Yeah, yeah.
Anything else that kind of pops up in your mind that as you're reflecting on the last 3 to 4 years, anything that stands out where like, yeah, on the journey, there were these moments that also played an important part into you being who you are today and you doing what you do today.
I would say, Rahul, it's not only one moment, you
Mm,
cannot say one moment.
yeah,
Every client,
huh,
yeah,
uh-huh,
every client help you to emerge a better person, emerge as
mm,
a better person, because every client is coming, or every mentee is coming with their own experience and
correct.
the expectation. So when you are fulfilling their expectation, when you are
Mm,
working with them, you also improve yourself,
right,
right? So I
right.
always believe that teacher is the best student,
Mm,
right? So
mm,
if you want to learn something, be a teacher of that subject. That's what I recommend. I highly recommend, So yeah, that so especially when I talk about the specific moments which have changed. So when I conducted my first webinar, right?
mm,
Healers, coach, everyone, they know the story of webinars and the fear of webinar and the
mm,
client conversion, everything. So everybody
right.
understand that pain.
Mm,
But it was just luck of first time or whatever it was that I got 50% conversion in the room. Yeah, and it was all organic, and
mm,
everybody was knowing me very well.
mm,
So that could be a lady luck. I don't know what was that, but
mm,
50% conversion I got, and that built my confidence that yes, I can do something about it.
mm,
And since I had experience, so I had the course ready and everything was ready for me.
mm,
So I just delivered.
mm,
But later on, I realized that as I went on this path, I realized that you have to prepare the course not as you want,
mm,
you know, you have to prepare a program which your clients want,
Mm.
right? So
Wow.
this is something which I have learned and I have
Mm.
improved. And and even though I say that communication is my niche or leadership or career growth is my niche,
Mm.
but you know what? It's everything. Actually, you are helping a person to transform.
Mm.
So it's not only about the external skills, but it
Mm-hmm.
is also changing or transforming the internal traits
Right.
they have, the innate quality they have, the internal beliefs they have,
Mm. True.
right? So that's where this healing, that's where the NLP techniques, that's
Mm.
where the mindset shift comes,
Mm.
which I also add in my program.
Mm.
So it's always a journey to improve. There is always a scope of improvement for yourself also.
Mm.
So don't think as a coach, I never thought that I'm done, I have reached. No, there is
Mm.
always a point of improvement. Before I was improving as a student, now
Mm.
I'm improving as a coach.
Right.
So, so yeah,
Got it.
that's the point
Beautiful.
I should make.
Awesome. So if you now that we started at the top of it where you talked about how you focus on leaders and communication, and you've taken us back in time to, how all of this came together. Like what were those moments in your life where you made certain decisions and therefore things happened, and one thing led to another, the Toastmasters, and then getting really involved in it, and then eventually moving into more of what you're doing today, right? Maybe now we sort of move into chapter 3, if you want to call it that, where walk us through like typically what happens in your community, and what is it that you do with them, how do you teach them, because communication, leadership presence, like these are at some level one can say esoteric, and yet they're so specific. They're
Yeah, yeah,
very, very laser like, in terms of the way you stand, the words you use, breathing, posture, so much to it.
yeah.
So walk us through like typically what happens in your community and in the way that you do what you
Okay. So my community name is Communicators Digital Gurukul.
do. Hmm.
My strong belief is that our Gurukul system, which
Hmm.
we had initial in ancient time, it was very strong, and
Hmm.
it should come back again. The
Hmm.
modern education system is just making us clerk,
Hmm.
or the programmer or the coder in
Hmm.
advanced language.
Hmm.
But it is not building our mindset to be a leader, to
Right.
lead the people, right? So that's the thought, that's the, I should say, the vision we have in this community. And the philosophy is that it is common for all. It is common for all.
Hmm.
So whenever somebody comes in, the one thing which I tell everyone, that is known as the golden triangle.
Hmm.
Okay. So
Hmm.
I tell them that if you want to achieve anything in life, be it communication, be it leadership, be it personal or
Hmm.
professional goal, you have to work on three things. First
Hmm.
thing is Iksha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, and Gyan Shakti.
Hmm.
Okay. Until and unless you have a strong willpower, or even if you have a strong willpower, if you do not have knowledge, the power of knowledge,
Hmm.
even if you have the willpower and the knowledge, but you don't want to execute, right? You won't be able to achieve anything.
Hmm.
Correct. So you have to work on these parameters, these three parameters, then only you would be able to achieve anything.
Right.
Right. So this is the foundation of our community.
Hmm.
Now coming to the execution, the method. Okay. So we call it as conducive communication model,
Hmm.
or communication skills or method which will help you or which will be conducive to your career growth.
Hmm.
Okay. So
Right.
it has two parts. One is to inner improvement, the
Hmm.
mindset shift,
Hmm.
and then self belief, self development, right? That thing.
Hmm.
And another thing is language, confidence, your presence,
Hmm.
right? So this is how we work. We divide things into two parts. One is to work on your inner state, and one is to work on your external traits.
Hmm.
So this is the whole method. And then we also have different levels, for example, beginner levels, then intermediate, then advanced communication. Or advanced program is something which we have the high ticket program.
Hmm.
It is about the holistic growth and success.
Hmm.
right? So it is about, as I said, right, you have to have the executive presence. So
Mm,
what does it mean? You have to not only work. See, I have seen, like, for example, you were telling me, right, what was the eye opener moment with your client. So
mm,
one day I had a meeting, and I always, whenever I conduct a session, always start the session asking them, what was your win, small win for the week? Okay. So I was following one of my mentees that she was not able to perform and she was not able to get the results in terms of improvement. And I said, what's wrong with us? And then we had one on one call to understand her problem. And then I realized that her relationship was not working well. And that is why she was not able to focus on her career.
mm,
And that's why I realized that, see, until and unless people are balanced,
mm,
people are fine, they will not be able to focus on their career and profession,
mm,
right? That's where I started working on their holistic growth and
mm.
success, which
Right.
includes health, wealth, relationship, and career.
Mm,
So the high ticket program is something like that, so that we can work and place proper thing at a proper place,
mm.
so that they can work on their career with a key calm mindset.
Right.
So this is the high ticket. So we have beginner level if anybody wants to come from the beginning, and then if anybody wants to come as an intermediate, and then the advanced level of program.
Got it. Got it. As I'm listening to you, I'm also sort of mapping it back, right? Like you said, you have these three levels that you work with people. In your own journey, when you reflect back now, right? One was this deep uh, draw that you had to communication, and
Hmm.
specifically like Toastmasters, which is again, a format that's been around for quite a while. So
Yes,
it's sort of like they say battle tested, right? So it's been used across many countries around the world, right? So even in terms of gaining skills and building, if you want to call it the curriculum, like that was definitely one of the inspirations that you had even before you even knew that you were going to become a coach,
of course.
right?
Yes, yes.
Share with us, like, what was in these last couple of years, what other experiences or what other processes drew your attention? Because more so today we realize that the more skills we have, the more exposure we have, the easier it is to be able to create holistic programs for people, because that is where everything is moving
Mm,
toward, right? Like
mm,
when we are working with people, it is a holistic solution that people are looking for, whether they know it or not. And we also are looking for holistic tools which can give people more than what they may know what they want, but
mm.
we know what they need.
Yes.
So, what was your journey like in, let's say, increasing your skill from looking at the Toastmasters, which was one of your core areas from what I've heard so far? But what was some of these other skills that drew your attention over these last couple of years?
Yeah, sure. So, see, one thing I'll tell you, Rahul.
Mm,
So we understand that, right? The first benchers cannot be the great teachers,
mm,
right?
mm,
Because because they cannot match the energy of the last benchers.
mm,
And we, as a teacher, we have to teach. We have to reach to the last bencher so that they can connect with us, right? So, being a student of Toastmaster,
right.
being a communication student is was a different thing. But taking the hat, wearing the hat of a teacher or a coach is completely different thing.
Mm,
Even no matter how many certification I have done in communication, no matter how much I have learned in communication,
mm,
to learn from the scratch to be a mentor or a coach,
mm,
right?
right.
And that's where I
Mm,
realized that communication is just 10% what they need.
mm,
Communication, they can learn anywhere.
mm,
But we have to work, we have to hit the nail on the confidence they are losing,
mm,
the self belief, the limited belief they have on their own self,
mm,
you know. So that's why I realized that communication will come later on. First,
mm,
I have to make them believe that yes, they can do it. They do
mm,
not have anything lagging,
mm, right.
right? So any kind of, either it is communication, either it is any kind of healing or coaching, first of all, we need to understand, make them believe that yes, you can do it. Right? So
Right.
throughout the journey, I went from outside to inside as a coach. And that's why I realized that, okay, communication, of course, is important for them, but let's first understand their inner problem. And always, whenever I conduct this discovery call, whenever I have these one on one sessions, I
Right.
understand that the problem is somewhere else. Right. So, for example, me, I was started comparing myself when I was child. The similar experience they also have, that
Right.
I was having that experience. So they relate with his story very well, and that's where they understand, okay, you told that story. Now I was also having that experience.
Right.
So, first of all, so that's where I started learning NLP techniques. That's where I started learning more of spirituality. Then I realized learning about the law of attraction and then affirmations, everything combined works as holistic growth. So, yeah,
Right.
that is the points which I have worked upon.
Beautiful. So, in this journey, and especially nowadays, we talk about the role of the community. Earlier, like you talked about, doing one-on-ones. Earlier, if you were, let's say, a business coach, or maybe you were an executive coach, right? Because that, let's say, that channel has been around for quite a while. When you talk about
Yes,
the ICF and you talk about business, like in the corporate sector, there have been coaches for some time now, even in
yes,
India for that matter, right?
yes,
Unlike, say, now post COVID, where you have anything that you want to learn today, you have a coach or a teacher or a mentor, or a healer somewhere, all blended in, right?
mm, mm,
Reason why I'm asking is because now there's a lot more focus on the relevance of a community.
mm.
So what has your journey been like in building a community? Like, where are you on that spectrum, if you want to call it?
Yeah, sure, sure. So I'll start with my own experience. So Toastmaster is the place where there is zero judgment,
Hmm.
zero criticism.
Hmm.
And that I evolve in that environment, the same environment I wanted to give to my mentees. Because the only challenge they have is fear, fear
Hmm.
of judgment, fear of criticism, fear of less acceptance,
Right.
right? So that's where I realized that I need to give them an environment where
Hmm.
they can speak up, where they can communicate, where they can express themselves without
Hmm.
the fear of कि ये गलत हो जाएगा तो लोग क्या बोलेंगे,
Right.
सो वो जो एक डर था कि जो बाहर लोग क्योंकि इफ यू सी इन प्रोफेशनल और इन कॉर्पोरेट वर्ल्ड वेयर मोस्ट ऑफ माय मेंटीज आर,
Hmm.
फिर यही प्रॉब्लम है कि वहां पे लोग आपको करेक्ट नहीं करेंगे, वहां आपको क्रिटिसाइज
Correct.
करेंगे, राइट? So for that matter, to give them so I always tell them that this community is your playground.
Hmm.
Practice and make mistakes. So I
Hmm.
openly tell them one of the core value we have is make mistakes. Right. That's the thing which we were missing since childhood. That's what we have taught.
Correct.
Right. So that is something which I reverse. That please
Hmm.
feel free to make mistakes.
Hmm.
Right. So this is kind of environment we give in our
Hmm.
community so that they can make mistake in a playground and they hit six in their real test match. You know, so this is the playground, and their community is the playground so that they can play, they can make mistakes, they can fail, so so that they can play well in their
Got it.
test.
Beautiful, beautiful. Again, the reason why I'm asking the question is because, and we've all been there, in the initial phase, the focus is mainly only on doing one-on-ones. Maybe because for most people, right? For most people who are graduating from being seekers to becoming healers and coaches, usually the first step is I'll work with one person.
Hmm.
Okay, I can see one more person. Then I'm like, okay, I have a calendar. So I'm, coaching 3 to 5 people.
Hmm.
Typically, that's the way it goes.
Hmm. Hmm.
What's interesting is that now we sort of, as you said, use the word Gurukul. We're kind of moving back to our roots, if you want to look at it that way. So more and more, there is an understanding and a realization that community really makes all the difference. So even in our community, that is really the core of what we focus on, which is creating that space and holding that space. So that's the reason why I was asking you these questions, because the intent, of course, is for people who are listening, especially coaches and healers. It's just another nudge, another reminder. Even if you haven't already started a community and you're doing one-on-one work, which is great, you're helping people. Now start to move to the next phase, which is, if you see it as a phase, then treat it as the next phase, or just expand. So you see more people, you have a place, you're, inviting more people to come and be with you and connect, because that's how people will grow,
Correct. So
right?
just
So
to add what you said and what
sure,
our common mentor Siddharth says all the time, that this relationship is not about one transaction,
correct,
right? This
correct.
transaction is about the complete transformation. So if
Mm,
you are in a community, if we are holding that space, if we are
mm,
in the space, then only you will be able to transform. And
true,
that is something which
true.
every coach should give a space like this to their
Mm,
mentees. That is what my understanding is.
correct. Beautiful, beautiful. So now there's one more piece in this chapter which I know will be of a lot of relevance to coaches and healers especially, which is, when we talk about creating your own brand, we talk about, digital marketing, we talk about creating courses, digital products, right? So we talked about the community, but these are two important elements, like your own brand, and then of course your products. So give us a little bit of insight into what has your experience been over these last couple of years. Of one is, of course, where you made the transition from offline, meaning in-person sessions, to online, and where I'm sure you have, students from all over the country, possibly even from outside. So the way it is today, what is your from your experience, what would you like to share when we talk about, creating a digital brand, creating your own brand, and of course digital products?
See, at that point, like creating a brand and the digital products was still easy for me because I was still doing the
Correct.
same thing in offline venture.
Mm,
But
mm,
when it came to building a brand,
mm,
okay, it was not an easy journey because
right.
I was not able to understand what exactly
Mm,
the trend in the market.
right.
How to whether I should go Instagram, whether I should make reels, whether I should make
Mm,
YouTube, फिर Instagram में कम्युनिकेशन कौन देखेगा, Instagram में तो
mm,
डांसेस चलते हैं, राइट? तो मैं किधर जाऊँ, क्या करूँ, कैसे करूँ? That was the confusion. At the same
mm,
time, the confusion was on the webinar कि
mm,
चलो एक बार तो फर्स्ट टाइम जब मैंने कंडक्ट किया तो आ गए, उसके बाद नो
correct.
कन्वर्जन एट ऑल.
Correct.
I think everybody has gone through those journey who are coach at point of time. And one thing I'm not sure, Rahul, you can also add up to that.
Mm-hmm.
During COVID, everybody was open to learn from coaches.
Mm,
So that time it was easy to brand yourself as a coach because people
mm,
were free.
mm,
People were open to learn online because they did not have any other choice.
right.
Now the market is becoming chaotic,
Mm,
right?
mm,
Every like once upon a time we had doctors and engineers in the market. Once
mm,
upon a time we had MBAs in the market, and now it is coaches,
mm,
right? So
mm,
to build your brand, you have to find your X factor,
mm,
right?
mm,
Everybody can come and come teach communication,
right.
right? Everybody can come and teach NLP. Everybody can come and teach healing and process. But what is your unique factor?
Mm,
Right, that
mm,
has to be reflect. And don't see, one thing which I have learned from the owner of Success Gyan, I forgot his name.
so Rain.
Surain, yes, yes. One thing which I connect with him very much, he says that run your business with ease and grace.
Mm,
Yeah, don't push your brand to anyone. Don't
mm,
push your 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 products to anyone. It should not push, it should pull. Or it should not pull, like people should come to you and you should not give them the product. People should look at your brand and they should believe that yes, you are the right person to coach them, to
right.
help them, and then they should follow. So So in terms of branding and marketing, it should be, of course, organic and
Mm,
webinar selling and everything. For
mhm,
me personally, I feel one-on-one works more, right? When I
mm,
conduct a discovery call, when I connect
right.
one-on-one with them, then they feel that yes, I'm able to understand their
Mm,
challenges, because in webinar setting, it is not possible to connect one-on-one and then talk, right? So when they realize
right.
that yes, when they have the trust that yes, I understand their problem, I can provide the solution, then only they trust that yes, she can provide the solution and she can help us,
Mm,
right?
mm,
So for me, branding is important, organic marketing is important, unique
mm,
X factor is important, and of course, these one-on-one and webinar, both ways, both ways. Yeah.
mm.
So that would be my
Nice.
answer if I've answered
Beautiful.
to your
Yeah,
question.
yeah. That's again my intent of asking these questions because we've had over the years now, I'll say, we've had guests who are at different phases and stages of their journey. And at the end of the day, what you're sharing is based on your experience. And that, like they say, right? The ultimate truth is your experience.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's all just gyan or just, opinion. Exactly. Right. So that's why I asked you because of you speaking your truth of and speaking from your truth, that will actually I really do believe that that is what will create the unlock for people. Like you talked about some very important topics. Like one is the webinar, right? We know that when you have been able to, let's say, crack the webinar formula, which means when you record a webinar, when you show up for a webinar and you really have an understanding of what people want, then the format really works. It's
Yeah.
like makhan, right?
Yes.
Otherwise, it's like you're running again into a wall, hoping that there is no wall,
Yeah.
right? So it's beautiful to hear your perspective because, as I said, even if there's one piece from what you've shared, even in the last, say, 5 minutes,
Hmm.
if that and that will create an unlock for somebody, and we don't even know, we don't even need to control how it's going to do that because
Mm.
you're speaking from your experience. You're speaking from the last 1 year, the last 2 years, the last 3 years of being on this journey of, the whole digital being present virtually and yet making such a deep impact in people's lives,
Correct.
right? So I know that people will have gotten a lot of value out of this,
So
which brings me,
just to
hmm
yeah,
hmm
just to add here to this message is for your audience who are
yes,
planning to conduct the webinar.
mm,
See, what we have done, I mean, what I personally have done, that I was just following my mentors that okay,
mm,
run the webinar, run the webinar, run the
mm,
webinar. But my heart was not there. I'm not the salesperson. Somehow I'm not the
mm,
salesperson. So it depends on you
mm,
which format works for you. It can be boot camp, it can be
correct.
webinar, it can be one-on-one, it can be challenges,
Mm,
anything. So you have to select, okay, you got the idea that these are the format, but you have to try everything so that you can get to know which one is working for you.
right,
So
right.
that's my personal experience, and that is what I wanted to pass on. So they don't think that webinar is the only thing they can conduct.
Correct. Correct. Absolutely. And to put it in another way, the truth is there's always a time and place
Yes.
for every vehicle, if you want to call it that,
Yes.
every driver to generate revenue,
Correct. Correct.
right?
Yes. Yes.
So that was beautiful. Which now, of course, brings us to two questions before we move into the final chapter, which is there any particular, let's say, program that you're currently running or planning to run? Because the purpose of us doing this pod also is that, one, people have stuck around and they've gotten to know you better. They're deepening that relationship with you so that when they actually meet you, for them, there will be that comfort factor of, okay, I know Akanksha, right? I feel like, okay, Akanksha really gets me. That's also the reason why the pod exists. So if you have maybe an existing program that you want to briefly talk about or something that you're intending to run shortly, share. And of course, your link is shared in the bio, in comments. So people can reach out to you and follow you on all the social channels. But also specifically, if there's a program that you want to, talk about, definitely use this platform to tell people more about it.
Sure. So I forgot to mention during
Mm-hmm.
in our conversation. So one level, like it is beyond level one, level two, level three. I
Mm,
also run train the trainer program,
mm,
which is for like coaches and mentors, because there also I have found that they are not able to express and they are
Mm,
not able to communicate effectively,
mm,
especially when it comes to giving the value addition of their product.
mm,
When they so when you are talking to your mentees, you have to use the storytelling. When you have to
mm.
talk about your experience, when you have to talk about the products, you have to add the value addition. So that's where I help, that how you can communicate and express yourself
Mm,
to your mentees. And also, if you are inclined towards becoming the communication coach or something like that,
correct.
that is also part of the program. So that is something which I can offer. So yeah.
Nice. Awesome. Okay. So that, as I said, brings us to the most important chapter, as I like to think of it, which is what we call the journey of mentors, right? So, as the name suggests, this is that segment where this is an opportunity for you to express your gratitude for people who are your mentors, who came in at different points on your journey. Reason also why I bring this up, and I feel it's most important to mention this, that when we started doing these pods, the first 25 odd pods that we did, I had kind of missed this, and I also noticed this almost like a trend, that a lot of
Yeah.
times, coaches, for whatever reason, don't openly talk about their mentors, that so and
Yeah.
so came in and this is what they did for me, for whatever reasons, right? But I realized that there's a lot of power in the story, because for someone
Hmm.
who listens to your story of how your mentor entered into your life and made a difference, it can either be the mentor that they are meant to hear about and find out more about, or it could just be a stepping stone to whoever it is they're meant to meet next, right? Especially for coaches and healers. So walk us through, like, who are some of these people who stand out the most for you? Like, okay, these people, you can mention the name and of course what they did for you, which is why, it kind of like leveled you up.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. So, see, I don't know if you would be able to relate it or not, but somehow I was not able to connect with my academics teachers,
Huh.
you know.
Huh.
So that I won't be able to mention much. But when I started my journey, where my heart went on, like the people who really helped me to emerge, like,
Huh.
so the mentors were the my managers, right?
Mm,
Mr. Prashant Kapadia, who was my senior in during my corporate journey, and he helped me a lot to give the direction. And sometimes we just need the confirmation on our own belief.
mm,
Somebody
mm,
के लिए कोई चाहिए होता है कि हो जाएगा यार तुमसे कर राइट. So that kind of person, if you have in your life,
right.
believe me, you are blessed.
Mm,
कि हो जाएगा,
mm,
कर लो, ट्राई तो करो, वैसा वाला.
right.
क्योंकि तो
Correct.
डर ही हमारे दिमाग में रहता है और वही हमको करने से
Correct.
कुछ भी रोकता है. तो यदि वो
Correct.
एक सेकंड
Correct.
कंफर्मेशन मिल जाता है कि यस वी कैन डू दैट, you are blessed if you have that kind of person.
Mm,
Okay.
mm,
And then when I was going through the lowest phase of my life, when I lost my mom, and when I was really going through a bad phase,
mm.
that time I got my spiritual guru. And I should
Beautiful.
say her name. She is Sister Shivani, if a few of you
Mm,
know. Yeah.
mm,
So her program used to come where Suresh Oberoi used to conduct interview on TV, and she used to give her answers. So I started watching her series, and I was blessed to watch her live, and I attended her many programs. So that is how I learned. I inclined towards the spirituality because of him,
mm,
because of her, right?
mm,
And that is where my journey towards the going inside, fixing the inner problem,
mm.
crossing your limiting beliefs. So that is the time when
Right.
it had started.
Mm,
And also, of course, for communication, whatever I am today, I give the whole credit to Toastmaster International.
mm.
But the only points they had, which I am working on, that they had a certain standard, right?
Mm,
So
mm,
everybody would not be able to feel comfortable, because I took 1 year to
right,
decide whether I should go or not, because I doubt myself whether I would be able to match that standard
right.
or not.
Mm,
So then
mm,
many people do not register there, enroll there, because they feel, oh, it's not for me. It's too much,
right.
way beyond my
Huh,
limit, right?
huh.
So that's the feeling. That's the part, the place of or the importance of community where you send that or give the belief that yes, you can do
Right.
that, right? So that is the gap which I'm trying to fill. And also, then going forward, of course, the people who have helped me, for example, Siddharth,
Mm.
right? So he broke my belief, the limited belief that we cannot run coaching online. That was the biggest fear I had, that I don't know whether
Wow.
it will work for me or not. So that was the biggest breakthrough I had during
Mm.
starting launching this
Right.
journey. And if you remember, we have Harmeet Kelly.
Mm.
Yeah. So this is a message which I am sure that you also have got some point of time, and which I want to pass on to your audience
Mm.
who are coach and healer, that when you are selling, don't sell to sell, sell to help,
Mm.
right? Go in a webinar with the mindset that you are there to help people.
Mm.
Tell your product that if they do not know about my product, they will miss a lot in their life. That's why it is my duty to pass on the features of my product and the benefits of my product.
Mm.
To go with that mindset, which is something which I've learned from Harmeet Kelly. So
Mm.
he's one of our common community member. So that's why
Right.
I'm mentioning his name. But yeah, these are the people. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, right? Everybody, for example, I'm learning a lot from you also right now, right? Every
Mm.
line give a message, and just click and you adopt that, and adopt for your lifetime. So this is something which I am doing and I'm learning, going through my journey. So hope that, yeah, it works
Nice.
for everyone.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, the power is in the story. And most often it's when we don't know, or when we are so unconscious of how the words are coming out, that is really where the deepest transformation happens. As you also mentioned earlier, when we are super prepared,
Hmm.
that's not when the transformation happens.
No.
It's like, what is it they say? Music is the silence between the notes.
Wow. Yes, I
So,
agree.
in the work that we do, it's those moments when we say something, but we are not actually conscious of it, that the depth of it resonates with whoever is looking for what they're looking for. So, I know that, listening to your story today, Akanksha, that people have definitely, um, they've definitely connected, and they've learned something that will help them on their journey, especially healers and coaches. And of course, even for seekers, because as I said, we always start as seekers and then eventually we become healers and coaches. So thank you for, sharing your story. Thank you for continuing to inspire others in your own community. And now this message is out in the, if you believe in the universe, it's out there in the universe. And so whoever is meant to receive this message has already received it. So thank you once more for taking the
Thank you
time.
so much. Thanks, Rahul. In fact,
My
I should
pleasure.
say that you are doing actually a work of God, because you are kind of a messenger. You are bringing people and you are connecting to the needy and the people who
Right.
can share this story. So
Right.
you are doing the God's work. So thank you
Thank
for
you.
that. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for that.
Thank you for saying that. So as I said, there are two parts to this equation. One is us, where we, create the space. The other is people who've been listening. So of course, for people, those of you who've been and you've reached this point, one is of course, and I truly mean this, that if you have reached this point, it means that you've not only connected with Akanksha and her message, but this is probably the start of something more. So one of the things that I always make sure is that, you can reach out to her. You have her links that's, pinned in the comment below, and follow her on all the socials. And as and when you happen to watch this message, there will be a program that is relevant for you. You can definitely find out more and be part of a community and grow in your own leadership, language, and so much more.
Thank you so
So
much, Rahul.
thank
Just
you.
one thing to add to your audience.
Hmm.
Remember one line that is very important, because I have written on my whiteboard, and which would help them also, that the quitter never wins
Mm.
and the winner never quits. Yeah. So remember those lines and you will be reached. You, no matter, no time, you will be reached there wherever you want to go. So
Beautiful.
this is the message I want to go and give them.
Awesome. So, as always, for those of you who reach this point, just remember that you are seen, and you are important. So keep showing up and keep doing what you do. And having said that, of course, as always, remember to live your purpose. God bless. And of course, a quick reminder, we do these podcasts on an ongoing basis. So we are constantly looking out for some amazing healers and coaches, guests like we've had Akanksha today, and just to keep you on your journey and to keep fueling you so that you keep going forward and living your purpose. So, with that, till we meet again, God bless. Thank you all for your time. And
Thank you so much.
Akanksha, once
Thank you
more,
so much.
thank you. If you can just hang on for one quick second, I will pause our stream here. And with that, for those of you who happen to be watching this last segment in our edit, thank you and see you in the next one. Take care. God bless. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Nice. Okay, we are now officially loading.